This is a line and wash demonstration using Ferris wheel press buttered popcorn ink, which is a favourite fountain pen ink of mine. Now, this demonstration almost didn't take place because when I reached up to turn the light on, I fainted. Well, they say be real, that's what happened. So I didn't turn the light on. I just worked with the lights in the room. Amazingly, must be my good camera equipment, but the video turned out because I thought I was only demonstrating for myself. I never thought that I would have a copy good enough to show. So I hope you enjoy a little bit of fun and relaxed, free and easy work with buttered popcorn ink. The dip pen I'm using is, well, as old as me. The body is shot and the nib or the head is as good as can be. Probably better than a new one. I just don't know the brand anymore because the nib has been bound together with washi tape onto a stick because the body is so worn out. And I happen to think a good old vintage pen with a worn out body makes a better dip pen than anything modern. This nib has spring and bounce. It's superior to draw with than a steel nib. The Ferris wheel press ink buttered popcorn that I'm working with is water soluble. So if I put it down on the paper as a brush stroke or a pen line, I can add water to it and emulsify it and it will bleed out. So I'm able to work in a watercolor technique with it. But because I'm working with ink now rather than my watercolor pigments, I use a lower grade brush than I use when I use my Merry Blue watercolors because sometimes the ink will stain my brushes or not wash out as readily. So I've used a soft squirrel brush when I've done brushwork with this. And I keep my Kolinsky sables for just when I'm using the watercolor paint, which I know will wash out more readily. When you do line and wash, you can do the line work after the wash work, or you can do it beforehand. If you do it beforehand, you must use a permanent ink, one of the inks that is not water soluble. If you're putting a line down after, you can use a water-soluble ink. However, keep in mind that most of the water-soluble inks are made as dye-based ink and they are not as permanent or permanent at all, whereas your document inks may be permanent inks. So decide the purpose of your artwork before you start. If you're intending to sell it or display it on a wall where it's exposed to light, then do use a permanent ink, something that won't fade, is archival quality. Also use archival quality papers, such as the one that I'm working with, which is acid-free rag content. If you're creating artwork for the print market or to illustrate journals, then by all means use your dye-based inks, which will fade over time, but because they're enclosed within a journal or in a folder, out of sight, out of the bright lights of a room and only viewed occasionally, then they'll probably last a lifetime or more. And dyes can give you some beautiful colours and effects to work with. Some inks can add an exciting tendency to break and vary in colour and tone and hue, or a shimmer and a sheen not possible with pigmented inks. So the excitement of working with ink can be worth the loss of permanence, provided you use it for the right purpose. As I said, if you ever do sell something that is not archival quality, be sure to let your client know. Most clients are going to assume if you are selling something that you have used integrity of creating something that is lasting. I did away completely with a photograph to do this work. I just wanted to do pen lines, sketching lines, just for the sheer fun of it and looking at the subject and creating marks on the paper where I thought it would suit the composition, the colour harmony, the pattern of light and shade. I saw no need to follow a photograph. I saw this as being a free, loose and easy impression of the essence of the flower rather than the likeness of the flower. I was after capturing the essence of the pansy in an old crystal vase like my mother would have had, with a grape hyacinth background. And by the way, I grow grape hyacinths and pansies in my garden because of my puppy Tess, my cavoodle, because, well, they are safe flowers to grow. It's good if you have a dog to have a dog-proof garden. Well, my painting isn't finished, but the buttered popcorn stage of it is. So subscribe and click that notification bell and come back when I do the next stage. We'll be using an ochre ink by Diamond.